What up, YouTube? This is Maurice Moore, 11-1-74. Take the 7 and the 4, that's 11 more. I'm kicked back, spitting facts in the man cave, man, sipping on a bud to make me wiser. Now, where I'm picking up with you from, man, that last video I was telling you about when I ended up with that Hiram key. Everything, man, from that quantum leap to that escape to that fugitive warrant, when I got that Hiram key, everything was leading to that in my mind. Maurice Moore, I ain't searching the internet. I ain't looking for new information. The information that I needed found me. There's so much information out there and everybody got an angle, man. Man, people twist the truth to put it in their favor. So everybody giving you up their own version of the truth. Maurice Moore might as well tell you what happened to me is my own version of the truth. When I ended that last video, I was telling you about how I was in that fugitive warrant and I came across that Hiram key, and I was telling you about that Hiram key is a good book. Man, it's a good book to get your knowledge up of what actually happened with the orchestration of religion. They go back to the Egyptians and they go back before them. It's all in plain language. It's easy to understand, and it's a hell of a book. When I got that book, I felt like it was all right for Maurice Moore to be A1, not D1, not Jesus, but to be some A1, to hit that other level. Remember, Jesus said, what I do, you can do also. You say, do what? That's what I'm finna tell you about. Telepathy. This is the story. This is the story of telepathy. Now, after I got out of that, out for that fugitive warrant, like I told you, it took them 10 days to come get me. They didn't come get me till the 10th day. So I stayed in jail in Shreveport for 10 days for no reason. But remember, I told you there was a reason, because that's where I got that Hiram key, and I was in a situation where I couldn't do nothing but read, and I read that whole book. Made me feel like I could be A1. So when I got out of Wilder County, they picked me up on that 10th day. I was out of jail. I had a bond called Mr. Booker. I was right out. I was on the ground. I didn't have no vehicle at the time, but I would observe. I would observe from the sky, point at planes or whatever, Cessnas, whatever flying by. I was intrigued with something coming out the sky. Fast forward to December 2006. It was about 2 in the morning. I woke up from a nap and I was going to observe looking into the southern hemisphere, looking for a spaceship or whatever. That spaceship showed up at the house, man. It didn't show up where I was observing from. That's the first thing that I noticed when it appeared out of nowhere. That spaceship appeared out of nowhere. It looked like about the size of a 747. But then it came in close. And when it came in close, oh man, it blocked out the sky. I just knew I was a goner. I said what I thought would be my last 3 words: checkmate, Zen master, Pharaoh. I got that Pharaoh from the Hiram key, but I kind of used that from that Hiram key on that spaceship. That spaceship was just hovering, man, right above me, blocked out the sky. They talk about that 10-mile diameter. I say easy. And after I said them 3 words, it took straight up in the air, didn't rustle a tree, didn't make a sound, and disappeared within the blink of an eye. To see something that massive move that fast, I said, we ain't got that. We ain't got that. So instead of going looking in the universe, I went back in the house. Now keep in mind, this is early December. I don't remember. It was just a few days into December. It was early December. When I took that nap, I got up and I was manic. I wanted to leave town. By then, I had a vehicle, but I didn't want to take my vehicle and leave town. I didn't want to be on the road. I didn't want to leave nothing to chance in a vehicle. So I was safe. I got me a bus ticket for the next bus leaving. That's important. The next bus leaving was going 111 miles. That's important. That's important. I showed up in Austin, Texas, and I got off the bus, and I was thinking about this spaceship and everything that was happening. I was running thoughts in my mind, and I was walking, and I came across this lady. She heard what I was thinking. I guess she was close enough to hear. She heard what I was thinking, and she said, "Oh my God, Christ." That's the first time I experienced telepathy, the idea of somebody on earth hearing my thoughts. Now, I told you I prayed to that angel, and that angel showed up in 2003, but you figure that angel coming from heaven. Austin, when I showed up in Austin, I was thinking, and people could hear what I was thinking. So, man, I went to a Wendy's right there in Austin, and people was acting funny around me. I didn't say nothing to nobody, but they could hear me. They could hear my thoughts. So I left there, and I caught a cab down to 6th Street. And when I got on 6th Street, I got out. He asked me where I wanted to go, but I just told him to put me off anywhere. When I got out the car, as soon as I got out of the car, a bartender whistled to me. And I went in that bar, pulled out my laptop, and I started typing, man. I started typing from seeing the spaceship up until that point. I was typing it all. Man. And while I was typing, some people was in the corner. They were saying 11-1. Up until this part, I was cool. When I got to that bar, I was cool. But when they started saying 11-1, that freaked me out, because, that's my number. You know what I'm saying? It's like they knew me, but I didn't know them. So I left there walking. I jumped on a bus. It was the Martin Luther King bus. I got on the Martin Luther King bus with them people. Wasn't no telepathy on that bus, but I didn't want to get too far from the source. So I got off that bus and I started walking back up the way towards 6th Street, and a policeman pulled up. And he stopped me, and he told me, "I got to take you to jail." And I said, "What did I do? I haven't done nothing. I only had 2 beers. Why I got to go?" He said, "I got to take you to jail." So I went along with it. I went along with the game. People hearing my thoughts, and the police show up, tell me he got to take me to jail. He must be hearing my thoughts too. So I went peacefully, and he stuck me in that holding cell. And for some reason, I figured it wasn't no telepathy in the jail. And the first thought I had was, "Thank you, Jesus, for as well as it is." God, a female in charge of the jail, heard that thought. She said, "You're welcome." And she pounced on my thoughts. She was the first person to pounce on one of my thoughts. People was hearing them. But when I came out with that "Thank you, Jesus," she couldn't take it. She said, "You're welcome." That drawed her out. That really drawed her out, falling back to monotheism in front of her. When I was all alone by myself and I thought wasn't nobody listening, and I fell back to Jesus, that might have been why she said, "You're welcome," and pounced on it so quick, because I was believing that God was a woman. This is when it got real. That's when I met her. I got up. I ran to that door. I said, "I knew you was a woman. I knew you was a woman. Tell me what you want me to do." She said, "Spread the gospel." Now, that threw me for a loop when she said that, "Spread the gospel." So I tried to ask a backup question. I say, "So you just want them to know that you're a woman?" She didn't answer no more questions. But that telepathy was still working in that jail. They let me go that next morning, gave me my backpack and my computer back, and let me go. And that telepathy put me in a van with a bunch of other people. That telepathy was still working at that point. When they put me in a court, that wasn't really what was a court. I was talking shit in my mind and just sitting there on telepathy talking shit to people. And one dude turned to me and say, "Would you just shut up?" And I said, "What you talking about, man? I ain't saying nothing." That's when they picked me up and took me out of that scenery and handcuffed me to a bench. They gave me some paperwork, and they had my street name spelled wrong on the paperwork. And once I noticed that mistake on the paperwork, and I said Michelle Owes. That's what I was thinking about. It said Owes instead of Owens. And when I seen that O's, I thought Michelle O's. And they took, as soon as I had that thought, Michelle O's, they unlocked the handcuffs and they let me go. Now, if you want to know who Michelle O's is, she's the first woman that I know that was a preacher. So full disclosure, man, after I left that police incident, I was right back in the mix. I was on tip. I should have left town right then, but I ended up picked up by the police again. This time, they took me to the Austin State Hospital. That's a terrible place to be, man. I had been in VA mental wards before, but never a state hospital. Oh, that was a terrible place to be. This all happened in December, early December of 2006. I spent Christmas and New Year's in that state hospital in 2006. I know I wasn't going to be able to get out of there with that story. They set you up for a hearing after so long to see if you're going to get out. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get out of there with my story, man, about telepathy and experiencing people hearing my thoughts and seeing spaceships and meeting that female god. So I went aloof, cold and distant, act like it never happened, just treated it like it never happened. And then when I had that hearing in Austin State Hospital, I was cognitive in that hearing, and they let me go. And that's the first time I went to Austin. That was the first time that I went to Austin. And I ain't been back too many times since. They kept asking me, was I coming back? But that's my experience with telepathy, man. Man, the first video was 12 minutes. I guess this one could be about 12 minutes too. Yeah, man. Your thoughts can transmit. Now, it only happened to me that one time in that heightened state of reality after seeing that spaceship. In order to get that spaceship to show up, you got to get that Hiram key and get your compass put on true north. What I mean by that true north, man, that you're looking for your own personal version of God. The gods is out there, and everybody's stuck in Jesus and Jehovah line, but it's a plethora. The Hindus got 131 million deities, man, and they're overwhelmingly female. That's enough gods for anybody to have their own. Now, Maurice Moore tell you, I met my own personal God. She was a little upset because I fell back to monotheism when I was in front of her. But I think she forgave me for that. We all right. That's what I'm saying. But you ain't got to find my God. The key is, the journey is looking for your own personal version. Believing that your thoughts is transmitting. Generate your thoughts from a positive perspective. Slow down. Pay attention. Catch that nuance. It's always a clue pointing you toward that deeper meaning. All you got to do is be a little superstitious and a little curious and keep your karma good, and you'll notice it. Like I say, considering the feminine side of God, Jesus ain't gonna be mad at you, man. Jesus got the Hail Mary. It's your boy, 11-1.